In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up in that, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast and mine. This is The Cool Breeze, Andrew Fiore. I am here along with my Defend Your Movie podcasting partner. It's the Dutchie himself, Sean Donnelly, everybody.
Hey there, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Dutch, a.k.a. Sean Donnelly. Dutch, we just assigned the name Dutch by Andy. That's all I want.
It fits so well.
Dutch works. Hey, I'll take an Ed O'Neill movie as my name. What's going on, Andrew? How is your quarantine going?
The quarantine is going. It's going. I live alone, and I don't have a significant other, so we're getting a bit lonely over here.
This might be time for you to get a dog.
I would absolutely get a dog if it weren't against the building rules. I can't have pets.
Oh, you can't have a dog.
And it's been driving me so crazy. I'm thinking about moving next year so I can get one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even after all this is done?
After all this is done, because I came up in a dog family, always had pets. Dogs were a big part of our lives. My mom and dad are both big dog people, and they passed that along to me. And I'm like you, man. I miss having a dog in my life. And I've always wanted one. It's always been my dream to have two dogs, and I get them at the same time, and I name one Brody and one Hooper.
Oh, perfect for the movie podcast.
Exactly.
Well, do you want to tell people what the topic is for the day? Have you watched anything movie-wise during the quarantine?
I didn't pick up too many new movies since last week when we got together. I've been doing a lot of binging on TV shows. I binged Billions, the new season of Ozark. I'm almost through. So I hadn't watched too many new movies. I have been watching a lot of older movies that I've already seen. And speaking of Ed O'Neill, I threw on Wayne's World Part 2 the other day.
He's the bad guy, right?
No, he plays the donut shop worker.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And he's kind of shell-shocked from the war. Yeah. And it's so perfectly funny.
He's awesome.
Yeah, it makes me think how great of an actor he is in almost anything you throw him in.
Well, that's the thing about it, because do you think that Married with Children, because he's been in movies here and there, but he gets like bit parts. He is a great actor. So and he's kind of like an actor's actor, but like, do you think Married with Children, it was so low rent, do you think that it kind of screwed up Ed O'Neill's career a little bit?
I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah.
But if you go back and watch now, he's such a brilliant comedic actor. His reactions and his facial maneuvers, I mean, it's devilishly funny the way he pulled off that character.
You mean in the Married with Children?
Yes.
Yeah, no, he's awesome in it. But it's one of those things where I think when I was a kid, I just watched it. And granted, I was a kid when you're little, you're watching it. I was like, oh, he's just that guy. Like,
right.
Yeah, and he was so iconic as Al Bundy, and it was such a big deal in people our age. It was such a big deal in school. Like, Married with Children, like people watched like religiously.
Yeah.
So I think I just had in my head like, oh yeah, I only am going to think of him as Al Bundy.
Sure. And you forget, that show lasted, I think, 13 seasons.
Oh, so, that's right. Yeah, it got, like, ridiculous after a while.
Yeah.
They had, like, a new kid. They added a kid to it. They added, like, a little kid to it.
Yeah, 7.
And the dog would talk. Did the dog always talk on that show?
Yeah, Bud? Yeah. No, not Bud. Buck.
Yeah, Buck. It's a funny show, but it was, like, even when I was a kid, I was like, this is a low-rent show. Like, this is, like... It looks like they made this for like $20 an episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, purposefully, though. But even if you go back and watch the early seasons, it's low rent.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've been watching TV stuff, so I'm still rewatching The Wire. Talk about great acting. Jesus Christ. Like, you know, you're getting, and The Wire is one of those things that they used local Baltimore people.
Yeah.
There's people in it that you're like, the minute you hear a thick Baltimore accent, you're like, oh, that guy's from there. It's
right.
Like there's a guy who plays, I forget his character name, but it's the actual, I think he's the actual guy based, you know, Jay Landsman, the guy, Delaney something plays him. He's the big fat cop. He's like the sergeant, and he's always breaking their balls. I don't know if you remember the show. But they were going to have the actual guy play Jay Landsman, but he had such. I think he wasn't a good enough actor. But they have him play a cop in later seasons. They have him playing, and the guy's got like an insane. First off, he's not a big fat guy. He's just a regular sized guy.
Right.
And he's got like an insane Baltimore accent, like it's out of control. But when I went down to Magooby's, I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the show. I went to Magooby's and I was talking to one of the comics that lived there, and he's like, when that show was going on, it employed the entire city. Like it was like a huge production.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I want to watch 1917, but I haven't jumped into it yet.
It's great, man. I think you'd like it a lot.
I'm going to watch that. I told you I watched Jojo Rabbit, but today we got a good topic. You want to tell people what today's topic is?
Yeah, before we get into that, though, I can't believe we never made this crossover. I was just thinking about how we're obviously both huge Seinfeld fans and talking about Married with Children. Do you remember the kid they brought on was named Seven?
That's right.
And that's obviously what George wants to name his kid on Seinfeld.
Yeah, what the hell is
tribute
that?
to Mickey Mantle. We never put that together before.
Oh, my God. And he was called Seven because it was like in his orphanage or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. And
that's so funny.
Yeah, I can't believe we never put that together before.
So I wonder what year that was, because that was probably when Seinfeld was going on. So it might have been they had the same gag.
I'm willing to bet it was after Seinfeld.
Oh, you think it was?
Yeah. Because he was on later in the series, and I think the series went until around 97 or 98.
Oh, it didn't really?
I don't know. Maybe. They might time up pretty perfectly on that one.
It started like 87, dude. Like it started.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're right, though. That would make it like, if it started like 86, 87, 88, whatever it was, 10 years. Oh, yeah, you're right. It goes into like 2000.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But,
yeah, there we go. Seinfeld. I was watching, I sent you the clip the other day when the one with Kroger, when he goes, he's trying to get a shot of a bare-chested Kroger, and Elaine is friends with the skin doctor and
Dr. Pimple Popper, MD.
Yeah, he's like, so we get one of those screenings going. Kruger takes off his shirt. I got me a shot of a bare-chested Kruger, and she goes, "You got a little thing for this fella?" Dude, one of the most overlooked lines ever. She says it so softly. I died. I died, and I taped it, and I immediately sent it to you.
Dude, she's got some gems. I saw the one last night, the backwards episode, where they go to India. Yeah. And it made me think.
Is that part in that where she does the sign of the cross by accident and then scratches it out?
My favorite line of her is she goes, in Indian, Jerry is named Jagdish, and then she gets really drunk.
Yeah.
And Jerry throws her out, and she opens up there. She goes, "Good night, Jagdish."
It's one of the best things ever.
It got me thinking, though. I wonder if somebody somewhere must have done this, where they cut together the episode in actual order, from start to finish.
Yeah, it's probably on YouTube. I had to guess.
Yeah, but we got a great topic today. Maybe not a great topic, but a timely topic.
Yeah. We're keeping with the COVID-19 theme here a little bit.
Yeah, so we decided, since we both live in New York City, and if the end times were actually to happen, what would be the best disaster movies? Maybe typical to New York City, because New York does seem to take the brunt of a lot of the disaster films a lot. But
yeah.
we can, if you guys have any suggestions, reach out to a larger demographic of disaster film. There are a bunch of great ones out there, but I focused on New York City when I was making my list today.
I think we can do I think we can do across the country. Like this whole thing's affecting the whole country. But let's talk about this. Why do you think I think they focus on New York because of the amount of people.
Amount of people and just such recognizable landmarks have to be fun to destroy in a makeup world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like there's a lot of great like end of the world movies. Like two of the Cloverfields, and those aren't New York. Well, one of them's New York.
Well, Cloverfield was number one on my list, actually. Not number one, but it's the first one I thought of. I wrote down.
Yeah. Cloverfield is because also Cloverfield started a lot. First off, it was made for I think no money. It was made for it started the career of Matt Reeves, who's the director. He does a bunch of big budget movies now because of Cloverfield. But it's also it was the first DIY, not DIY. What do they call it? Point of view one.
Yeah, point of view with T.J. Miller as the point of view.
Yeah, exactly. The first point of view, after Blair Witch. People talk about Blair Witch, and then. But I will say this: when I first saw Cloverfield in the theaters, and this never happens to me, it made me a little bit nauseous.
I didn't get that, but upon repeated viewings, I do understand it. It doesn't bother me, but I totally get it.
It's such a great movie. It's a really great movie, and it's great because for a few reasons. And ones that pop into my brain are the cast, and you don't know who they are, so it makes it that much more realistic. T.J. Miller was the most known person, and even people I barely knew who T.J. was when he did that movie.
Yeah. Emily Kaplan.
But she was
still unknown.
Yeah, she was still unknown. And then secondly, anytime you do a disaster movie, the key should be limited information. That's what makes things so terrifying. Because if you watch, that's another one, I could put this on the list too. It's not New York, but Signs is one of my favorite movies. I love Signs.
Right.
I love Signs. But one of the reasons why it's so great is because it's super Hitchcockian in the way that you only get limited information. When they you see the aliens at the end, but before that, there's about 40 minutes of movie with no aliens. And
I think the scariest point in that whole movie is when Vomito's children. The very first glimpse of the very first alien is the scariest part. Maybe the basement when they're down there, and it's but that
how hard it is to make you jump, and that makes you jump.
When I saw that in the theater, I hit the ceiling. Yeah. But that just always goes back to the Jaws theory. It's the lesser you see, the more suspenseful and scarier it is. Jaws, the Bruce shark, is only on screen for a total of 4 minutes.
And part of that was because they kind of lucked out because they were doing more, but everybody, I think at this point, everybody knows the shark malfunction. And So, but I think it also made people realize and that's the Hitchcock rule too, almost.
The Rear Window.
Yeah, Rear Window. Oh my God, Rear Window is my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite Hitchcock movie, hands down. I bought it on iTunes because of how, dude, this is how good Rear Window is. And if you haven't seen this movie, Rear Window, I watched it a long time ago with my grandma. I had kind of a nostalgic thing with it where I watched it on her couch. I was chilling out, whatever. But I remember watching it the first time and it terrifying me, it being really freaky and really suspenseful. And then I probably have seen it once maybe since then. And then I bought it and rewatched it, and it freaked me out just as much. It was really getting to me. So do you realize how perfectly orchestrated? When that's why people love Hitchcock so much. Every morsel of every shot was deliberate with him. Every single minute detail of what was going on, and you see that it really helps because. Yeah, obviously there's a vision there, and it really illustrates the more care you put into something, the more it has an emotional impact.
Absolutely, and that was what I loved about before I even saw any sort of scene from Cloverfield. The trailer was what really hooked me. If you remember the trailer, it was just.
I think what was the trailer? It was we'll post the trailer on the Defend Your Movie Twitter. But
You only heard it was like a late dark shot of New York City streets, and you kind of faintly heard the monster's noise in the background, which it had a really distinct, like, kind of it almost sounded like a foghorn kind of noise. And you didn't see the monster at all, but then you just saw the head of the Statue of Liberty just kind of rolling down Broadway.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, this is going to be good. It was just very simple, but it just built the suspense. And I like the movie. A lot of people don't love Cloverfield because of what you said, but I think the movie stands out aside from the jostling of the camera and the way it was shot.
Same here. I still liked it, and I got nauseous when I was watching it. And on top of that, I don't think it was the first one to have a viral marketing campaign, but it was definitely one of the ones that like worked really well for it. Because I think they were putting ads for like the Japanese company. Like I think the whole idea of it was that the whole idea of Cloverfield, and if you haven't seen it at this point, like here's maybe a spoiler. The whole idea they show you at the end is that something drops in the water and wakes up that monster. That's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
The satellite from that Japanese company falls from the sky and wakes up whatever Cloverfield is.
Yeah.
But then they ruin it because here's the thing. Honestly, the more you want to talk about limited information, 10 Cloverfield Lane it's actually a better movie.
Better movie.
The more I think about it now, I'm like, Cloverfield's great because it like started that universe. 10 Cloverfield Lane, because also the cast, amazing. Goodman, you can't fucking beat Goodman.
Yep.
And but also, once again, even more so, limited information, and also the whole time you're like, this guy's crazy. This is all made up. It's going to turn out to be made up. Even though you know it's a Cloverfield movie, you're like, oh, he's lying to them about part of this.
Yeah.
You still think he's making it up, and at the end, it's shown to be absolutely true, and it's supposed to be what's going on at the time. And then they kind of let you in on the third Cloverfield movie. God, what a disappointing fucking movie that was.
I thought 10 Cloverfield Lane was the third. No, I thought they had made one in between, and then they made a shitty one.
No, they made the first one, 10 Cloverfield Lane, years later.
Yeah.
And then they made the Cloverfield Paradox. But here's the thing. Even with 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I don't know if everybody knows this, they took an existing movie. Cloverfield is straight up Cloverfield.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I think everybody did so well from Cloverfield, they couldn't go back and work on an actual organic follow-up. So they were taking existing movies that have been shot or like scripts that were about to be shot and then adding the universe of Cloverfield to those movies. So 10 Cloverfield Lane, I think originally was a movie where it's just the thing that takes place in that basement apartment. And at the end, the original ending could have been that he was making it up and she just escapes and she gets out and that's the whole movie. Right. What they realized was, and it paid off on that one, what they realized is that, no, we can make this a Cloverfield movie and have it be as, very, very suspenseful on like what information you're getting from it,
All right.
And then the third one was Paradox, and that was the same thing where it was kind of like this shitty script. They were just like, we're going to make this. And then when they realized when they told you what the fucking reveal is on why these monsters, do you remember what it is?
No, I never saw Paradox.
I don't know if I should tell you or not.
I'm not going to watch it, but
it's basically, the thing is that like okay, so what happens up in space is this rip in the space-time continuum happens that opens up the gateway for these Cloverfield monsters, these aliens.
Already a reach.
Oh my God, to go basically in any fucking human timeline they want. So it's they can just show up wherever in human history, and it's all because of what happened on this ship. And why
didn't the Cloverfield monsters kill baby Hitler?
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, what the fuck? Oh my God. So, but the first two are fantastic. The third one kind of ruins the lore and ruins the whole setup, man. It's like really,
yeah.
And then you get to the point where it's just a shitty, because they're like, oh, we want to get these out, but we don't have the time to like make an actual original idea for it,
Yeah.
So that's Cloverfield. They're good disaster movies, or end of the world movies, whatever you want to call it, because that's what we're living in right now is the end of the world. And but I think the big one, which is high on my list, even though it has a cheeseball factor, it's literally Armageddon.
Armageddon's a great one, and I'll say that I love Armageddon. I don't care. It's a good movie, man.
Armageddon, okay. It is a good movie. It's a fun movie. It's super Michael Bay. It's so Michael Bay. It's
very Michael Bay, but it's almost got that Ocean's 11 feel of disaster movies, where you've got a great ensemble cast, you've got a mission that they've got to get done, and you're racing against time. It's just a fun movie. Michael Bay's made a lot worse movies.
And yes, he has. Transformers. We can just say it.
Yeah.
I won't watch the Transformers. I saw the Bumblebee one, but I won't. I watched the first one, and that was it. I fucking can't stand.
I think there's a little bit of corniness in Armageddon, but dude, I'll be goddamned if you don't fucking tear up every time Bruce Willis goes down.
No, that's tough.
When he's talking with Liv Tyler at the end, I mean, if you're dead inside if you don't cry over that.
Oh, here, but the cheesiest part in Armageddon is when he's taking the animal cracker, and they're like in this they're not like this field with a perfect sunset, and he's doing like a nature show narration. And he's like, the gazelle run. I'm like, it's a part you love to hit. You're like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck.
That does give me the douche chills. Well, I'll give you kind of another one which doesn't really deal with New York City on a whole, and is kind of it's not actually as corny at all, but it's Independence Day.
Oh no, Independence Day is pretty fun, straight up. A lot of people love the Bill Pullman speech. You love it, don't you?
I love Bill Pullman.
Yeah, you're a huge Pullman fan. You're a Pullmaniac.
I'm a Pullmaniac, baby.
For all you Pullmaniacs out there, let's talk about Independence Day. Well, the thing about Independence Day is that it was like, name something else done like that. Like it's like War of the Worlds, but done correctly. You know, like even better than when they actually made War of the Worlds. Like Independence Day is way more fun. Way more fun of a movie.
Totally.
And it's like you're talking like peak Will Smith era. You got Jeff Goldblum in there. You got Judd Hirsch playing probably like a character that's like 20 years older than he actually was at the time. I think.
Right.
But overall, like it's I think who was the director was Roland? Was it Roland Emmerich?
Jeez, you're really testing my.
Yeah, see if I'm right on that.
Look it up
because it's a very when you watch it now. Am I right? Okay, it's a very.
Oh my god! It made $817 million at the box office.
Did it? Well, worldwide.
Yeah, that's $1996.
Holy shit! See,
that movie was huge, man.
That's what people aren't paying attention to anymore. Is these like that you need like a good hook on these disasters. That's why when they did the sequel to the Independence Day, like Resurgence, I still haven't seen it to this day. But I heard how shitty it was. Talk about a missed opportunity to make. All you got to do is remake the first one with better effects.
Yeah.
Make it Will Smith's son and Bill Pullman's son or daughter. They're pilots, and they
Creed Part 2
the same exact thing. Yeah, just revamp the whole thing. Who cares?
but
they made it so much worse. I watched clips of it. And I'm like, this is so boring.
Yeah, stands up over time though. Maybe the only thing that doesn't hold up is the computer virus that they give the aliens. We could probably get a little more technologically advanced than that now.
Yeah, how would they change it now? Yeah, they'd be like, we sent them an app that has like
now the aliens are just like, we got a firewall up now. We're good.
Yeah. Too many people know about computers. They'll be like, yeah, it's called malware. We already know what it is. Like we're not. We don't need to you can think virus. Like we know what malware is. We know how to get rid of it. And also everything's Mac now. So if the aliens have Macintosh, they have no viruses.
Right. They're like, yeah, we got Norton antivirus, so we're fine.
Yeah, we figured it out. We'll just kill you guys.
What do you got next on your list?
Well, I just kind of was doing it off the top of my head.
Oh, all right, sir.
Well, here's the one that fits in. Here's one that fits into what we're about. What's going on now is it's a disaster movie. Contagion is definitely a disaster movie.
Sure.
And it's like it's Soderbergh. It's a really well done disaster movie.
Yeah.
It's like very true to life. It's great acting. You got Maddie Damon in there. It makes by the end of the movie, it makes Gwyneth Paltrow a villain. What?
Big cast.
Big cast, and if you have a movie that's making Gwyneth Paltrow a villain by the end of it, that's pretty interesting.
I refuse to watch it in this current state. It'll freak me out too much. Basically,
what I was going to say is that the funny thing is, I was just mentioning how, in 90, it's funny how times change, because in 95, like an alien invasion could get people to go to the movies. And then now you need to do like real life stuff, which is like Contagion, or like where people are like, it's like espionage type things. That's where people are like it's way less innocent time. People used to be like, oh, we're scared of aliens. And now they're like, oh no, we're worried about this literal virus that's coming.
I would love an alien attack.
Oh my God, it'd be great.
Well, yeah, I know you. Well, speaking of kind of the paranormal, I have two kind of fun ones on my list that might not necessarily be disaster movies, but it's Ghostbusters Part 1 and 2, baby. Who are you going to call?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely that's a great New York movies. I'm of the thought process that Ghostbusters 2 is amazing. I think it's great.
Ghostbusters 2 is great and kind of a little more topical, because the ooze actually takes over the city and kind of creates all the the negativity and the fighting between all the New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Whereas Part 1, they're just kind of fighting ghosts.
Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I didn't watch the female reboot of Ghostbusters, but I would check it out. But I heard it's not even that funny.
Don't bother.
And the new one, I forget what it's called, but it doesn't take place in New York. It's like Stranger Things with the Ghostbusters.
The trailer looks great.
Yeah, the trailer looks great. But they're pushing it back to 2021.
Yeah. So we all know them. We all know Ghostbusters. We all love them from our childhood. But yeah, those are two kind of fun ones. I always thought one of the greatest things in Part 2 was that they used the Super Nintendo controller to maneuver the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, it was the NES Max. I had it.
Yeah. I used to love that.
The NES Advantage. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
And it was the one that was like it was set up like an arcade, like if you were an actual arcade.
Right.
It's pretty funny. And they just attached it to control the Statue of Liberty, right?
Yeah. Here's a great one. I'll tell you this one. How about Escape from New York with old Snake Plissken?
I've never seen it.
Oh, really? Have you seen Escape from L.A.?
Nope, neither.
I
never got into John Carpenter movies.
Yeah, I hear you. They're great.
I didn't purposely do it. I just never watched any.
Kurt Russell really just sells them. It's kind of that, like, they're bad but they're good movies in a way. It's like kind of like Machete. You just love this insane character.
Yeah, exploitation when they're purposely kind of bad.
Exactly.
But in doing that, if you do it correctly, they come out really great.
Yeah, for sure. Those movies are great. And then one I really have, which is, it sounds wrong to call it ahead of its time, but one of the more scarier ones, not a scary movie, scary in the fact that it kind of came true, was The Siege.
Oh, yeah. Well, The Siege, it was like, what, you mean like terrorist plot type stuff?
Well, it's not a disaster movie per se. I mean, it was made before 9/11, but because of the sleeper cell activity, that the city goes into martial law and it goes on lockdown. So the streets are bare, nobody can go outside, and it was eerily reminiscent of what's going on right now. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff in The Siege came true at 9/11, and it was eerie to go back and watch and see how accurate a lot of that stuff was before it was ever really a concern in our everyday life,
Oh, absolutely. The Siege is pretty freaky. And also, I was just thinking, I'm like, what do you think it would take now for like New York City to go into martial law? You'd have to have like, but the thing is I don't know if we can. It had to be a shortage on something where people go crazy. It'd be like a food shortage where nobody's even coming into New York City.
Yeah, I think if we don't get a handle on something like this, it could happen, which is scary.
Yeah, but I don't
think it will, but I do think this is something that would.
People are staying away from each other enough where it's like, you walk outside, you see people, but nobody's going near each other.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything crazy happen. Well, the more desperate people get for like out of work and stuff like that, the more you'll see some stuff.
Dude, I went to drop off my rent check earlier today, and I walked outside just to get outside. Took a lap around the block, and I was about 50 feet, maybe not that far, maybe 20 feet away from a guy. I heard him cough. I crossed the goddamn street. I wasn't taking any chances, dude.
That's just going to happen from now on. It's just going to be the new normal. Like, people will be freaked out if somebody's a little bit sick. I'm excited. I want to get to the point where it's like the news isn't talking about it, because that'll actually make people like forget about it.
Yeah. Well,
you know
hopefully it ends.
But you have anything on your list?
Yeah, those are all pretty much the ones I thought of. Like I said, we just kind of decided to do this about a half hour ago. We figured we've got the time now, so should we we're going to try and knock 2 out a week. We know we're in kind of a little bit of a holding pattern there for a while, and we're still waiting until all this is finally over. We've got some new things in store for the pod, but now that we have the time, we're going to maybe try and put out one maybe like on Tuesdays and Fridays. We'll keep the Friday. Every Friday we'll have a new release, but maybe we'll have like just a fun one on like a Tuesday, so something you guys can listen to while you have time as well.
A surprise episode. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, as always, just tell us what your favorite disaster movies are, the end of the world movies. I know it's not the funnest topic to talk about right now, but that's what movies are for. They make you feel better, and they make you deal with unpleasant things like this, you know?
And next episode that comes out Friday. We're not doing anything related to Corona, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a lighthearted ep.
It'll get your mind off of it. Do this, though. Rate and review the podcast, because it really helps us out. Like we said, there's a ton of stuff going on with the show that we're excited about. We have a new idea that we're hoping will really be fun for the guests to do, that we were hoping you guys will like, and we'll talk about that next episode. But rate and review the show on iTunes. Tell your friends about it. Share, retweet what we ever retweet. We'll tweet back at you. Like, we'll tweet from the account, or tweet at me and Andy. Andy, what's your Twitter?
It's just at Andy Fiori, ANDYFIORI. You can also follow me there on Instagram and at my website.com.
Yep, and I'm at SeanyTime. That's SeanyTime, and I'm that on Instagram and Twitter. That's my name. So let's stay in touch. Like, guys, let us know like what movies you think we should do. We're going back to the regular format starting Friday, so there'll be a movie being defended. Let us know what guests you might want. Let us know. Just give us input about the show, and we'll write you right back, and we'll be involved. There'll be 2 episodes a week going forward, and we're really excited about it. And once we get everything else locked down, the Corona kind of screwed up our plans as far as the big announcement for the show, but we will be telling you what's going on. It's only good stuff. We're only going to keep going. Let us know. And that's about it, right, Andy?
That's it, baby. You got it, Dutchie.
All right. We'll see you guys. This will come out, I guess, tomorrow, right?
Well, it depends on when we want to release it. Yeah, we can put this out on Thursday, and then we'll get one out on Friday, or we can save this for next Tuesday, and then this will sound like everything in reverse, just like Memento.
Let's put it out tomorrow for them. We'll do a little back-to-back action.
All right, cool. We'll do a back-to-backer, and then we'll go to the Tuesday-Friday format starting next week. How's that?
Absolutely. That sounds good to me. All right, cool. We'll see you guys.
Cool breeze.
We'll see you guys on Friday. We'll see the cool breeze on Friday.
All right, guys.
I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye-bye.